Hey everybody, it's Thomas. It's time to talk about Blood Bowl League of Blood Bowl. We're going to talk about what happened in Week 10 here. We're also going to talk about what's going to happen in the playoffs because we have wrapped up our pre-post season. I'm not quite sure how to describe the group stage here. The group stage. We've wrapped up the group stage with this third week of that. This week's recap's going to be a little different because some of the games matter more than others and some results are kind of whatever. But we'll go over what happened with my team here. I won a little bit of money, all that fun stuff, but I got some levels up as well. I got level up on Jason here, so I gave him Dauntless. No other level ups though. Bunny ate an early injury and got minus strength, which I didn't apothecary, which I'm kind of glad I did because I got to save my apothecary for a death, which turned into a badly hurt, which was always good. But yeah, I got a touchdown on Pamela, which was great, but I couldn't get her to level 2, and Bunny got minus 1 strength. So normally I just fire Bunny, but, well, okay. If you haven't watched the game, we're going to start talking about it. It's up here. But I lost, or I didn't win hard enough, which is like losing, essentially, because I'm out for the rest of the season, which is a little unfortunate. I'm kind of sad about that. I went undefeated. Well, I tied, but I didn't lose any games throughout the main round robin stage. So to lose one game in the group stage and be out is really kind of crappy, but them's the breaks, such as it was. Let's take a look at the match record chart here. I got 60k, which was great. I killed a Tomb Guardian, which got regenerated, but I got to kill a Tomb Guardian, so I got that on my belt. Threw 3 passes, knocked out 2 people, got 1 touchdown and 1 MVP. And this is the problem. I only scored 1 touchdown. Wasn't enough to push me over the differential threshold here. Mark did a bunch of damage to me, though. 4 casualties on me. Had a failed dodge in here as well. 8 3 tackles. Yeah. We'll talk about things I think I could have done better on my team when we do the whole season recap, but I feel like there's some things I could have done a little bit better here. But yeah, so Mark lost, but kind of won. I guess is the short way to put it. Let's look at the other part of the group, which is what really pushed me out here, which is the matchup that just finished here, which is the Skaven versus Dwarf match. Chris versus Orville. Chris did great. He did Skaven bullshit, got 2-1, almost had a 3-1. I think he could have gotten it a little bit better, but didn't quite do it. Ate a lot of injuries for his trouble, though. As you can see, there's some big holes in his roster. And while he got 60k for it, he also ate 6 casualties and a death. The death was on the very expensive Rat Ogre as well, which is a little tragic for him. It was a double death as well, which is super sad. SPP-wise, Chris finally stops his reign of terror. No casualties for him this week, which is the first, I think, in a while. 1 pass, 1 MVP, and 2 touchdowns. So not great, not terrible. 11, things like that. 12 total, I should say. Orville did a lot of work. He did tons of damage. Really dished it out. Killed the Rat Ogre. Minus strength the Gutter Runner that already had niggling injury. So that Gutter Runner is out, and Chris is just 10k short of replacing him, which is kind of a big deal. He's down to 11 players, which will have a big impact going into the playoffs. Oh, I didn't go over Mark's team, which was very rude of me. Sorry, Mark. I've done this a bunch this season. I don't know why. Mark got 60k and made up with a ton of SPP, 4 casualties, MVP. Good stuff. That's 13. That's a lot. Casualties went on some key people. He got 2 levels up for his trouble. Billy Quizboy is getting Wrestle, which I think is great. Skeletons are kind of just designed to be in the way, and with the huge popularity of block in this league, it's not too surprising to see Wrestle getting added to a roadblock. Other levels up would go to Phantom Limb, who hit the very impressive level 3 with Mighty Blow, doing a lot of work here. But piling on, as you can see, 2 casualties will do it, and a touchdown as well. But anyway, maybe he got the MVP. I don't remember for sure. But either way, he got piling on, which I think is pretty good. Even on a 6 movement allowance blitz route, it's still pretty significant. And just Mighty Blow plus piling on is a huge exponential adder for injuring people and hurting people. So big deal there. Anything else here? No big changes otherwise. These Tomb Guardians are still really short of getting the SPP they need, which is sad. Still, these pieces are very scary. Mighty Blow did a lot of work and leveled them up faster. So there is that. Yeah, team's looking good, though. He may want to buy some skeleton with all his money, but we'll see. We'll talk about that as well as move into the next match. Anyway, back to the rest of it here. Like I said, Chris is in kind of a rough shape with all of his stuff missing. He can hire a lineman, which might be beneficial considering how punchy the league is. But let's look at the other half, which is Orville. Orville walked away with 70k, which is pretty nice, and did a ton of damage, got 2 levels up. This runner got a level up because of the touchdown, and this blocker got some injuries and therefore got leveled up as well. Troll Slayers did a lot of work for Orville, as they tend to do, because why not? Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's tempting to talk about these teams that are out now, mine included, because I'd like to talk about them more, but we'll do that in the season recap. We can go over some things that could have been better. Okay, on to the other group here. We'll start off with Orcs versus Humans, the classic matchup. Gradic just had a great time, basically. Sid ended up kind of just giving up, throwing in the towel at the end, which is understandable. He's out regardless of what he does, and he couldn't slow down the Orc wrecking machine. So a little bit of SPP farming at the end here, but no injuries, which is kind of impressive considering how hitty this team is. One MVP and 2 touchdowns. Hey, these numbers look really familiar. It is 12 total, which is a good amount of SPP, especially because it went on some key pieces. This thrower hitting level 2 means block is most likely. That's what I would get anyway. Helps keep the thrower on its feet. These two here, guard, couple options. Tackle is very appealing given the amount of dodge that'll be in the playoffs. And for this one, doubles I think is what she rolled. So dodge is probably what I would lean towards because blodge will keep him on his feet. Blodge is never bad. That said, guard is still very appealing, as is tackle. So some key levels up here. She's got money to buy a troll and a reroll here, but might be worth foregoing that based on who the playoffs matchup is, which we'll talk about, of course, in a little bit here. But yeah, just not a great game for Sid in a season that was not very kind to him towards the end there, which, humans are a hard team to play, I would say, in any situation. Yeah, just a sea of no levels up and injuries and sad times, basically. What can you do? Sid continued his bad rolling luck and got 30, which is absolutely brutal. Look at this. Oh my god. There's a lot to talk about for this team. But again, we're going to wait till the season recap video for that. And if we look at the probably, how can I put this? Most tragic game, I would say, of the group. I should mention here, so the thing I forgot to, you may notice 6 casualties sustained, 5 casualties dealt. Chris ate a rock. This was not the only rock we had this week. Week of rocks. I'm jumping the gun here. Let's go to Jessup's team, because Jessup's team had a great game. 4 levels up, as you can see, and there's a reason for that. There was a lot of bullshit passing, like handoffs between sources and croc scores for a touchdown. That was ridiculous. 4 casualties, a death. As you can see, though, 5 casualties sustains, 2 deaths. One of these is from a rock being thrown. I think it killed the Minotaur. I don't remember for sure, but I remember it killing the Minotaur, which is a huge deal. The Minotaur is absolutely essential for Andrew's game plan for winning this game. Just blech. That's it. That's horrible. It's awful. It's no good. Aside from that, though, just the dice were ridiculously in Jep's favor. Way too many things went his way, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite him in the butt. In terms of levels up here, Croc's had a level up, which is crazy. Piling on did a lot of work for that, but also, I thought he got the touchdown, but maybe I'm mistaken. It was a handoff from a Crocs to a Saurus. Probably, based on the looks of things. Either way, level 3 for this Crocs, level 2 here, and a level 3 for this guy, a level 3 for this Saurus as well. So, a couple things to look for this team. From what I remember Jessup telling me, this Crocs rolled doubles, which is terrifying, which means he's going to have block and piling on. And now I think he knows to turn piling on to a question, so, yeah, not the best. This one, smashed ankle, is -1 MA, so a couple things you get. Block is obviously really good to get. Arguments could definitely be made for guard, but I think block is the way to go. You just want your sources to be able to hit more reliably no matter what, so block, A+. Mighty blow on this guy, same thing, block. Pretty boring levels up here, block, 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 but I think it's unavoidable. In terms of the skink here, I believe it's normal roll, so sidestep is what I would get. Arguments could be made for sprint, but this guy's already fast enough, and sidestep diving tackle is really annoying and really good. And sidestep plus dodge in general, really good, really annoying. In terms of what things Jessup needs, he rolled 80, because Jessup can't roll below 40 that often. Oh, it's just he rolled 30 against me, but whatever. He's got a ton of money still. I think reroll number 4 wouldn't be bad. I think getting more skinks would also be beneficial as well. He hasn't needed them so far, and given how meaty this line is, he might not, considering how punchy and slow the league generally is, but just more skinks wouldn't be a bad thing. I think reroll number 4 wouldn't hurt him, but there's something to be said for keeping your team value really low. which this team can do. So yeah, let's look at poor Andrew's team. Andrew, in a fit of rage, fired his idiots, which I don't blame him for. 30k, yeah, he's out. Got a 4-3 roll, I think, in there. It was not a good game for him. Things just didn't go his way. Yeah, we'll talk about this team more later. So that's it. That's the group stage. We'll take a look at the final rankings here. As you can see, I lost the tiebreaker here, and I'm third. Mark second. Chris is first. And then Greyduck and Jessup are first and second, respectively. So yeah. Group 2 ended up being a lot less exciting than it could have been. In Group 3, we had a 3-way tie, and I lost, which really sucks. God, I'm so salty about it. Whatever, I say. I won this part. I can feel good about that, I guess. So moving into the next week, as you can see, we're going to do a cross-group kind of thing. So first we'll play second we'll play first, all that fun stuff. We'll start taking a look here at, predictions-wise. I was pretty much right, except for this one. I was terribly wrong, but I don't think I could predict all the lucky crap Jessup got. So we look at the playoffs here. We've got Chris versus Greyduck, Skaven versus Orc, and then we've got Lizards versus Khemri. Winner will go on to play in the final week. Much like last season, I'm just going to do a kind of playoffs preview. I'm going to have content in terms of casting some of these games, at least one a week. I'll cast the finals no matter what, even if there's someone who recorded already, but probably cast this game, and then yeah, we'll see. I'll talk to people. We'll figure it out. You'll have content from me. Not that it really matters that much. But so let's take a look at these games here. Skaven versus Orcs. This is kind of a weird matchup. Weird because Orville, in his parting shot, did a ton of damage to Chris. Compare that to Sid versus Greyduck. We have a team that is pretty happy. So, assuming we have normal levels up, except for maybe the double she mentioned, which I don't know if you need the double on the Blitzer. I don't know if you need to take it. Blitzers have so many good skills already. Might not be worth it. But we'll assume maximum team value, because why not? We have plus 70, which will put it at 1430. If we look at Chris, 1340, so 90 granted at this point, because of 11 players, no mercenaries. If he decides to buy lineman number 6, which is worth considering. Also worth considering just saving money in hopes you go to the playoffs and or the finals, at that point you want your 4th gunner runner. But just getting a babe. So both sides really have an interest in not buying anything. That said, much like what I talked about last week for my team, I think there is something to be said for you don't want to leave because you didn't put money on the table. We'll see. I don't mean... None of these teams really need to buy anything. Well, Chris needs to buy a lot, but he can't afford it. But the Orc team doesn't really need to buy anything. A lot of things will come down to how aggressive Chris plays. He played really aggressively against Orville and got punched in the mouth for it. Just rightfully so. He got punched in the mouth. That said, Skaven bullshit managed to pull it out. Some of that was Orville played not quite as cleanly as he could have and played some risky moves early on instead of like moving the ball around. But I don't know. This team is really strong, and it's going to be really hard for for Chris to stand up to it. Kick might be a factor here. They both have kick, though. So, tough call. I'm going to say, yeah, he still got kick. I'm going to say Orcs have the advantage here. Yes, gutter runners are very, very fast. But I don't think with 11 players that... I just don't think he can stand up to the wall here. Non-armor value is really hard to break. Greyduck's been caging extremely well all season. We'll see. First possession might be a big deal, but I think just the overall ability for the blitzers to hit hard, the amount of guard on this team, the fact that all this strength 4 that is really hard for the Skaven team to deal with all the guard that's also present. I think Orcs just have a better chance of getting it. It's a very close matchup, and if it wasn't a playoffs matchup, I would say a tie game is very possible. But I think given how damaged Chris is moving into this matchup, I think Orcs have a pretty key advantage. That said, I did get a level up and got Sidestep, which is pretty annoying. 3 Strength Blodge, Sidestep, one of the most obnoxious things to deal with. And that's kind of the one factor that has me really hesitating is Grey Duck lacks any great way of dealing with Blodge. Got block on her own, but that's it. Basically, has to just hope she gets Pows, which is possible with the amount of 2-die blocks that's going to be thrown out, but there's no clean way to deal with Blodge on this team. So we'll see. Skaven could definitely win, because Skaven bullshit, and Chris's luck has been so fantastic this season, why wouldn't it be? So we'll see. I think Orcs have the best chance, though. Team consistency matters a lot. I think Orcs have a better shot here. And, you know, I'm talking about Blodge is a big deal. It's only on 2 of these pieces. Albeit this one also has plus strength, so we'll see. Okay, let's look at the other matchup here, which is Khemri versus Lizards. Last time these teams met, let's see here. I think bad things happened to Mark. Yeah. Great things happened, and then bad things happened, basically, due to crash problems. So we'll see. Very early in the season for both of them, so it's not really that predictive now. 1430 for Mark right now. And we talked about this with the assuming doubles roll. Assuming my memory hasn't totally failed me here. 1540, so 1540, I know I just said this, whatever. 1540 versus 1430, so 110 for Mark. Not enough for Wizard, which would be pretty helpful, but is enough for reroll number 5. And going to 5 rerolls versus 3 rerolls is kind of a big deal. So I don't know what Jessup wants to buy. Getting another reroll would be great. I think a 4th reroll would definitely help him. We'll see. I think this is going to be a hard matchup for Mark, though. Reason for that is all these ridiculous jerk bags. Blocking the Crocs hurts a lot, too. Very possible, of course. Mighty Blow on these Tomb Guardians plays off in a big way. Just the 4 or 5 strength pieces matters. The fact that he's got a fair amount of block to deal with the skinks could be a factor. We'll see. The skeleton having wrestle can honestly be a big deal too. We'll see. The Tomb Guardians go down, and with a bad regeneration roll, that could be it. I mean, it might be worthwhile to take an Igor. We'll see. I don't know. I think Lizards are definitely favored going into this, though. He could not buy anything and still do good. If he does buy something, we're talking Wizard money, which could be a factor then. We shall see, such as it was. Yeah, I mean, I think Lizards are going to win this. There's a lot to be said for the 4 strength pieces being able to punch out the assisting 3 strength pieces, or in this case, 5 strength helping punch the other 5 strength pieces. No guard in this team is kind of a factor, but Mark only has 2 guard pieces himself. They are in Tomb Guardians, though, so we'll see. Tough matchup, hard matchup for either team. It's really going to come down to, I think, who gets injuries where and on fastest, basically. KOs also be a big deal. Pretty much any removal will be a big deal in this game. I think the speed of Lizards versus the slowness of the Khemri will be the deciding issue, along with the Wall of 4, which was a big deal for Mark last time. We'll see. Close games all around here, which is great for a playoff system. Looking at the permutations here, so if I'm right, an Orcs versus Lizards, slugfest to end all slugfest. I have no idea who would win that one for sure. I think Lizards have the advantage there, despite Orcs' greater number of skills. Could be wrong, though. We'll see how that goes. If Skaven wins and goes against Lizards, I think Lizards definitely still have that matchup. Just the murder that team could put out would be huge. Yeah. If Khemri wins, Khemri can beat Orc, no problem. Close matchup, could be hard, but I think Khemri can beat Orc. Khemri can beat Skaven too. And pretty much I would put this pretty wide open. My money is on a Lizards versus Orc final, at which point I'm going to lean on Jessup, just because there's a lot to deal with. But I say that, and all his guard might be a factor too. It's really hard to make predictions given that so much SPP could be generated in either of these matchups. I think my overall prediction for winning it is Lizards. I'm going to say Lizards versus Orc final, with Lizards winning the whole thing. which would be cool because Jessup's a newbie and first season winning everything. A plus, most excellent. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'll be planning to cast these matchups here. Let's take a quick jog down the Hall of Fame though while we're doing it. Most experienced player. Yeah, see, this is an update already because I is level 4. We'll go through it anyway. Best scoring, I think I beat Dean here. Best throwing, yes, still me. Probably not for very long, but still me. Interceptions. Oh, this guy must have gotten killed or something. I don't know, or fired. Most violent player. Yeah, 8 casualties for the Croc score. Not too surprising there. Might see some doors move up here. Best running, Dean has got a pretty big lead on I, but we'll see how long that lasts for. Best throwing, so still threw further than I did. Best killing. Yeah, see, I don't think this is accurate because there's only 2 dwarf players. So there should be 2 dwarf players, one has 2, or 3 dwarf players. So this isn't updated, which is kind of sucky, but whatever. Yeah. We'll look up that more as the season finishes in our season recap. But pretty good season. A little sad to be out. But, you know, I played Elf in a really punchy league. What can I say? All right. We'll stop getting so nostalgic. We'll talk about that in the next recap video, which will be the season recap. And then, yeah, we're expecting to see some casted games from me, staring at some replays. It should be great. My name's Thomas. I'll talk to you later.